Hope you all have been having a great day. I've been thinking about my impending loneliness. As long as I've lived, I've wanted one thing, and that thing is a partner. And in the pursuit of that thing, I have come across a lot of situations. I've got them written all out right here. I'm gonna tell you all the stories of my bad dates. This is the entirety of my dating experiences thus far as a 20-year-old girl. And yes, I am a girl. I am not a teenage boy or a 12-year-old boy. I get a lot of comments asking me about that. No. Do I really sound like a teenage boy? Or a tween boy? That's even worse. But yeah, we're just gonna be working on this part of my castle, just building up this roof. As you can see, it's not finished clearly. And I'm gonna, tell all these stories. So grab your snacks, pull up your game, and let's hang out. Okay, prom, first date. This is my first date ever with a man. I should preface this. I apparently looked super gay growing up. And so I got a lot of the lesbian girls at my school wanting to date me, and I wasn't really sure where I stood on the spectrum yet, so I was like, sure, why not? So I got a lot of girls asking me on dates and stuff, but I realized I not only looked like a lesbian, I guess, but I looked like a butch lesbian, and they all wanted me to kind of fill that role of being that kind of kind of dominant girlfriend type, and that was not me, and I just didn't, I don't know, that didn't work out, obviously. This is my first day ever with a man, and how this all started is I was actually in senior English my junior year because, I honestly forgot. I think I just tested out of the junior one or something. But anyways, I was by this guy. He was looking back on it, maybe not the cutest. I remember he was balding already. But, we both liked playing video games. And this is something I've learned since, that not all men who like video games are... I'm just gonna stop there. I don't like to judge people by their hobbies and by stereotypes, but sometimes those stereotypes do exist for a reason, and some people do reinforce those stereotypes. Anyways, I sat by him, and my school does junior prom, and then we have this thing called senior ball. I don't know why we did it that way. I honestly think it sucks. We should just do prom for seniors, but it was for juniors at my school. So I decided that I was gonna ask this guy out. Should we give him a name just for fun? What should I name him? Jerry. That honestly fits his vibes. So I asked Jerry out. He said, oh yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I was like, oh, cool. And I honestly wasn't really sure. Honestly, looking back now, I think I'm a bit of a late bloomer because I never really felt attraction towards people until honestly just a year ago. But I was like, well, this guy, I enjoy talking to him about games. I guess he's kind of cute, he's a nerd, whatever, I can get behind it. I'm like, this'll work, this'll be fine. And I was kind of excited where he agreed to go with me because I was like, okay, maybe he likes me. And it took a long time to build up the courage to even ask him in the first place. So even though he's a year older than me, he doesn't have his license, which, I've since formed opinions about people who do not have their licenses, especially when it's men you're dating. But at the time, I was open-minded, and I was like, okay, well, I don't know his situation. I will just pick him up and drive him to prom. So that's what I did. Day of, I go and I pick him up. At this point, I didn't even know. Mind you, I was not a social person at all, especially in high school. I literally spent all my time playing Minecraft and video games. I didn't even know day dates were a thing. And for those of you who aren't familiar with American dates and proms and stuff, usually what happens is a guy asks the girl out to a dance, and then he plans a day date. So they go out, they hang out during the day, do some fun thing, and then they go to the dance. And they usually will have dinner with the group right before the dance as well. So it's like a whole event. I didn't know that was a thing. So I'm like, whatever. I get a dress and I pick this guy up and we just go straight to the thing. He didn't suggest a day date or dinner. I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, whatever. And we show up there. And I'm super nervous because I'm like, oh my goodness, like, you know, this is a high school experience. I'm here with a guy. The first date I've ever been on with a guy. I'm there and I'm trying to... I remember he kept saying like, oh, I don't even know how to dance. I don't even know how to dance. It actually was so funny. It was so awkward because he was like, I forgot, what name did I give him? Jerry? Jerry was like, he would do like 2 steps because I love to dance and I'll just dance however. I probably don't look amazing from the outside, but I love to dance. And he'd do like 2 steps and he'd be like, I just don't even know how to do this. And I was like, well, it's easy. Look, you could just bop to the beat. And Jerry could not find the beat. Like he couldn't like jump to the beat even. And I was like, well, have you ever played an instrument? And he's like, no. And I was like, well, you know how you can hear, like you could count along to the song? And he's like, I can't do it. And he genuinely couldn't. And I was like, okay, whatever. You know, some people just aren't born like that. Some people don't have the beat ingrained into their soul upon birth. So, you know, I wasn't gonna judge. It's fine. Jerry is like, hey, my friends are here. Let's go see him. He just leaves me, goes over to his friends, and I just follow. I'm like, oh, he's just excited to see his friends, blah blah blah. He just wants to hang out with his friends and he's talking to them and not including me in the conversation, and I'm feeling really awkward. But at this point I think it's me, because at this point I've been told by a lot of people in my life I'm a very awkward person, so I'm like, maybe I just don't know how to interact or something. So Jerry's being interesting. At one point, he's like, yeah, I want to take a break from dancing. So the venue we were at for my prom had, I hate when I do fall backwards off these things. It had like this really cool staircase, and then there was like a little balcony overlooking the dance floor. It's actually really cool, except for the fact they did every single dance ever there, and it started to get boring. But anyways, we go up there. It's super, super crowded. And there's a lot of people trying to crowd on to this little, like the edge of the balcony on the railing. And so I'm like, okay, this is where I'm gonna like kind of make my move. And so he's leaning over the railing and I go up right beside him, and then people come up and try to squish him right beside us, so I scooch over till our arms are touching, just barely, and he recoils. Jerry recoils away from me, and I'm like, okay. And at first I'm like, am I tripping? Like, I'm overthinking it. Like, surely he didn't mean to do that. Like, why would he have said yes to coming to prom if he didn't like me, you know? And so I try it again. He does the exact same thing. And at this point, I'm like really confused because in the moment, there's like a lot of loud music, people everywhere. I'm trying to think like, what's going on here? This is my first date ever up to this point. And I do one more time. And mind you, I'm not squishing up against him. It's just our arms are brushing. And he does it again. I'm like, okay, clearly something's up with this guy. I'm like, whatever. I just decide I'm not going to think too much about it because I clearly have zero idea what's going on. And okay, hopefully I can't see the other side, so hopefully I'm going to do this the same way I did the other. Anyways, stay on track. I gotta stay on track. So the night basically ends. We weren't dancing for too long. I think we were there for maybe 2 hours. At one point, he just keeps leaving to find his friends, and so I'm like, whatever, I'm going to leave and find my friends. And I did have a friend at that party, and so that's what I do. And I just dance with her. It's fine. At this point, this guy tells me he wants to leave, and, you know, I'm his ride. I'm driving him around, so I'm like, okay. So we get in the car. On the ride home, Jerry turns to me, and he's like, do you believe in teenage love. And I was like, I'm not quite sure I know what you mean by that. Like, guys, we did it wrong. We did it wrong. I knew this was gonna happen. Okay, whatever. It's alternating block, stair, but I started on the wrong one. So, yeah, I asked him, I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, I just don't think people, like, can know, like, if they can love somebody at our age. And I was like, okay. And I honestly don't remember that much after this, because this was, how many years ago was this? 3-4 years ago? Wait, 1, 2, 3.5 years ago is when this happened. And that was the beginning of my so far unfortunate dating life. And his whole thing was Jerry didn't believe in love, whatever. And why would you say yes to someone asking you out to a dance if you don't believe in love, you didn't want to dance with them, and you, like, is it just because you never been asked out to a dance before? I don't know. So that was the start of my dating life. I don't know if that was an anticlimactic story, but that was my first ever experience. Would not rate that very high. I don't hold too many grudges because we were kids who just didn't know what to do. I don't know why he would say yes to going out with me in the first place if he didn't want to go out with me. And if anything, I feel kind of annoyed because, I don't know, we were friends on Steam, and I stopped playing with him after this because I was like low-key offended. And I still see his gamer tag opening up every single night. And last I heard, he's living in his parents' basement, so whatever. Moving on, what do we have next? Because that one was low-key boring. Okay, this one is a little bit more entertaining, and it all starts with FSY. So, for those of you who don't know, FSY is a Mormon summer camp for youth, basically. I am not Mormon. I was raised in the church. I was never... I remember being a kid and be like, this shit does not make any sense. And I'm still exactly like that, but I would participate to make my family happy. And that's exactly what this case was. I went to this FSY thing. I got dropped off 2 hours away at a university. They're usually held at universities. And basically you just have a really tight agenda of random crap that you go to, like little classes, little like meetings, all of that, all with your little group of people. And the whole thing sucked so bad. I remember they had us scheduled out from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and we weren't allowed to go back to our schedule was so tightly packed, and we weren't allowed to go back to our dorms during the day. And so I was freaking dying. Like, I could get no sleep, and when I don't get enough sleep, I get cranky. I do not work well. And everything starts feeling miserable. I'm the type of person where it's not that I just get upset if my like base physical needs aren't being met. Like, if I am going on several days of too little sleep and not enough food, or the food is disgusting there too, like, that's where I start to literally want to kill myself. I get low-key depressed and I hate life and it all looks miserable and I don't want to do it anymore. So that's kind of where I was at by like day 4. And there's 7 days of this, mind you. And okay, actually, I'm so excited real quick. It's pillar time. We get to basically go around to all of these things and throw down pillars. Anyways, so, oh, sunrise, so glorious. On the story, I actually started full on skipping the classes we were supposed to be going to. I remember distinctly in one of those lectures, they were like, the devil will speak to you through logic always. Like, the more I think about this, the crazier it gets. The Mormon church is genuinely so wild. I don't know. Dad, if you're watching this, I'm sorry, but these are just my beliefs. This is just my experience. I remember them distinctly teaching me that, like, you know, if Moses would have been logical, he never could have parted the sea, because that's not logical. And so Satan will always speak through logic. I don't know. Crazy stuff. If you are Mormon and that brings you happiness, no shade. It's just not right for me, and I had some pretty crazy experiences. So anyways, I was skipping these classes. I actually ended up getting him in big trouble, whatever. But I did end up, they had swing dancing classes. And hold on, real quick, I actually want to check how many iron bars I put on the spikes over here. Just one. Okay, good. They had little swing dancing demos, which is really funny because you weren't allowed to touch each other at all. They literally had this big thing where you'd make a big X with your arm and scream, "Shut it down," to anyone you would see, because it was a popular thing amongst all the Mormon girls and boys to have your FSY wife or FSY husband. And so everyone was trying to look for like a little fling while they were, it's just so crazy. But, yeah, you're supposed to scream at someone and say, "Shut it down," and make a big X with your arms if you saw it. But they, for some reason, they still allowed swing dancing classes, and you know me, I love to dance, and this was my first time ever dancing with a boy, so obviously I was a little smitten. And why did they allow swing dancing? I don't even understand. If you won't let people hug, but you're gonna let them full on body each other in these moves, like, I don't understand. But yeah, this boy, we hung out, we met up at all of our meal times. It was whatever. I was actually pretty oblivious to the FSY wife thing. I didn't realize what that was until somebody told me afterwards, being, you know, the ever oblivious person I am. I'm autistic, that's why. I just don't pick up on these things very easily. And I mean, clearly I'm autistic, right? Look at what we're doing. But yeah, this boy invites me on a 5 a.m. run. And at this point, like, I think we're a day or so out from this being over, and I'm already hating my life. And this is the only, like, dancing with this boy is the only piece of fun I've had amongst all this torture. So I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm already getting like 5 hours of sleep. I guess I'll just get 4. I go there, we're walking around the course on this morning run because I actually have asthma and I can't run. And as soon he starts looking around wildly, and once he realizes that we're out of sight from the instructors, he turns to me and he tries to kiss me. I've never kissed a boy up to this point. I remember he like tries to grab my neck and lean in. You know, he closes his eyes and makes this like smoochy lips, and I like physically recoil and step back because I was not expecting that at all. And he's like, "What? Do you not want to kiss me?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, you have to take me on a date first." And the thing is, I panic so much in these situations, I don't even stop to consider how I feel. So I was just confused. I had no idea how to react or what really was going on. But he's like, "Oh, okay. Like, but trust, I'll take you on a date." Also at this point I was 17, and he told me he was 17. He actually lied. He was 15. I didn't find that out till after the fact, but he turned 16 the week after. I don't know, bro. It did not help that he did look significantly older than he was. I don't know, bro. But FSY ends. Yeah, I actually didn't get picked up because my sister, when coming to pick me up, jumped the car, which was my car at this point, over a state freeway, crashed it into a ditch. A friend picked her up, brought her home, and she never sent anyone to get me. And this boy's family actually picked me up and drove me all the way home, which was so nice. He was actually adopted by an older couple, which was sweet, but low-key turned a blind eye to a lot of his antics. Can you hear that? Arlo, stop! He's trying to get outside, this cat. I don't know why, because he just eats grass, throws up, gets scared by cars, and runs inside. Arlo, could you stop, please? But anyways, he says there's this movie theater, he would love to take me to a movie, whatever. I'm like, okay. I actually do enjoy long drives, and so, because he lived right by this, like, university that was 2 hours away. And so I drive up there. Of course, he also doesn't have a car or a license, so I pick him up. We're actually going on, this is so awkward. We're gonna go on a double date. Oh wait, the more I'm thinking about this story, the more embarrassing it gets, bro. We were gonna go on a double date with another girl we met at FSY and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend canceled last minute, but this guy's parents wouldn't let him go on a singular date. He could only go on double dates. And so she still went along so that we could go on the date, because I had driven all the way up and her boyfriend canceled so last minute. Okay, so whatever, we go in the movie theater and we sit in the very back row. It was some dumb like horror, like haunted house movie, but it was like a Disney version. It was honestly a horrible movie. I don't even remember what it was. And yeah, so I'm sitting with this girl I met at FSY on my left, and this boy, we should give him a name too. What name fits him? I'm gonna like name him Morty. Because that's the type of vibes I get from him, bro. I don't know. Just kind of a gross day, because that's how gross he was. He is breathing in my ear. I am locked onto the screen in front of us. At one point I look over and he pulls me straight up into a kiss. I'm shocked and I pull away. I'm like, wow, okay, I want to watch the movie. I'm not impressed at all up to this point. That was my first kiss ever with a boy, I guess. I'd kissed someone one time before that, and that was my best friend. My freshman year of high school, and it was disgusting, and we just wanted to know what it was like, you know? But anyways, back to the date. Also, I need to figure out what I'm doing. I need to finish this piece right here. Oh yeah, I'm trying to watch the movie. I realized that this kiss was not any better than that one kiss I shared with my friend 2 years ago at this point, I guess. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to kiss this guy anymore. But he's right there, and I even start cracking jokes with the girl right next to me because I'm so freaking nervous. And it's funny, I make a joke where she's like, she gets jump scared by the movie, and I'm like, don't worry, I'm here, like, I'll save you. And because I love flirting with girls, but I can't flirt with guys for the life of me. It scares the shit out of me. And so I grab her hand, but then things get awkward and I don't want to like yank my hand away from hers, because like I don't want her to think I hate her or something. Again, I don't know, I'm very socially awkward. Ooh, look at that for this rainbow bridge. I don't know, I'm like, okay, I gotta find a good chance to stop holding her hand, because now I'm holding her hand and this boy is breathing down my neck on my right, and then he pulls me into another kiss with tongue, and I am frozen. I am just sitting there. I don't know what to do. And so I kind of like, I don't know how to kiss at all at this point. So I kind of try to like kiss it back and stop kissing, but he just keeps pulling my face to his. I'm like, oh my God. When will this movie end? Okay, I gotta do something so this isn't like visually boring, I suppose. I mean, I get through the movie like this. I don't know how many times I've kissed this guy at this point. When it's over, I'm like, okay. But it turns out he had more planned, so we go and get gelato, and I don't know how to say no or bail out at this point, especially because I'm everybody's ride here, including the girl right by me. I kind of waited out. It's so awkward because this guy is French kissing me while I'm holding the hand of this girl next to, like, how did I even get myself in this situation? I don't know. He asks me to be his girlfriend after the movie. I'm like, okay, yeah, we kissed, so I guess. Yeah, we get gelato. He we're sitting in the car and he starts kissing me again. And it's such a hard situation because, like, look, I didn't say yes or no. I was confused. I didn't know how to feel about it, and I didn't want to anger him because I started realizing at this point he was kind of a more volatile guy, Morty. And so I just kind of kept through it. And I remember at one point he's French kissing with me and he pulls away and he's like, you have to keep your mouth more open than that. Like, that's not how you French kiss. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I've never kissed anyone before. Which, like, he also knew. I told him that initially. And it was just awkward. And this girl was just tag teaming the whole time. Not tag teaming. She was just third wheeling really hard. And I honestly was so relieved to drop him off at his house and get some time to think about, like, how I was feeling, because I was, yeah, at this point I had never kissed a boy up to this night, and it was a crazy night. And so I go home, the date's over, whatever. He's texting me a lot, and I'm trying to figure out how I feel about the situation, because right now we're still technically boyfriend and girlfriend. Well, we just became it, but you know. Basically, after a week of him texting me, I decided I didn't want to be in a relationship anymore. Nothing else happened. We never saw each other in person again. But I told him I didn't want to be in a relationship anymore, you know. And that did not go down well. He started cussing me out. He also knew some of the, like, I confided in him way too early because I thought that's what you're supposed to do when you like someone, which clearly not. But he ended up, bro, where are my sea lanterns? I know I have a bajillion of them somewhere. But he ended up, like, calling me and harassing me and telling me that he hoped that, like, my mother would keep beating me, because I don't like mentioning this online as much, but the story wouldn't make sense unless I told you guys that, like, my mom did abuse me and she lost custody of me when I was 14 because of it. And where are my freaking sea lanterns? We might just have to make more at this point. But anyways, he would call me and just say the most horrible things to me. And honestly, I wasn't too affected at this point because I realized, okay, this guy's a piece of trash. I don't care about him. I don't want to talk to him. I blocked him. I deleted his number. I deleted his mom's phone number as well, which I actually don't even remember why I had it, but I did. And I actually regret that so bad because he has repeatedly called me. And mind you, this was between my junior and senior year of high school. So this was 3 years ago. He has repeatedly stalked me and called and harassed me ever since on varying phone numbers. So the last call I got, the last couple texts, he'll text me a lot too. I tried to convince him. I was an old man who had just gotten a new phone. And he tried calling me a couple times after that, and I did accidentally pick up on one because I was expecting a call from a doctor's office. Which, you know, that's unfortunate that I picked up on that and said hello. But it's been like 5 months with no word since. So I think I'm in the clear with that one. Finally. There's so many Endermen up on this roof. But yeah, he is been a huge pain in my ass, and I kind of have this, low-key, this ties back to how my mom treated me too, but I had this fear of people I love coming back and just attacking me, and this guy did not help with that experience, with that kind of thinking, because that's exactly what he did. And so I would just get really, really scared that he was going to do something really bad. And every time I see a guy who even remotely looks like him nowadays, even though he probably looks a lot different because he's several years older, I'm sure. Well, obviously he is. I get very nervous, and I am honestly repulsed by any guy who looks like him. So You know what? This actually reminds me of something I did not even put on here. There was, I guess this was even before any of these stories. Apparently I accidentally dated a guy. This is just a really quick thing. He's just a friend I met at a school support group, which I was forced to be in those support groups and counseling things because you know, I was like a mess when I was younger. I was in the psych ward once for some issues, and yeah, when you've gone to a psych ward, schools they'll keep an eye on you. So anyways, I met this guy at this group, which horrible place to meet someone. I would routinely go over to his house and we would watch movies together. And also during this whole time my parents were getting a divorce, and so okay, whatever. I always forget how to make sea lanterns for some reason, but they had like no time. They were too busy fighting each other to really like supervise me and what I was doing. So I would routinely go to this guy's house. He was a senior and I was a sophomore. And I remember his parents asking me like, do your parents know that you're like friends with him? Because like the last girl's parents freaked out. It was crazy. And I was like, what? Because I was a stupid sophomore. And because I thought we were just friends. And he liked to cuddle. And he told me like, I just love to cuddle. And I was like, okay, well, maybe that's just how he is. I was so stupid, guys. I was so stupid looking back on all these things. And yeah, one day he groped me, and that's when I realized things were not great, and I never spoke to him again. So I guess that was like my first, and apparently he thought that I was like dating him, which he had never asked or I had never consented to. So yeah, I guess that's actually my first kind of experience. I low-key block that one out sometimes. This has turned into a depressing video. I don't know, pity sub or something. No pity sub. But anyways, yeah. Moving on to the next story, because we finished with Morty, right? Yeah, ended up with stalking. Love that for myself. Next thing we have is Camping the Park. Okay, this is the only relationship I've had up to this day. And I think I might speed things along a little, because I've been yapping about all this for way too long. I met this guy through my friend set me up on a blind date. He was okay. Later, I learned it looks a lot different in guys than it does in girls, so I didn't realize it initially. But this guy was just super insecure and super analytical, which I thought I liked analytical guys until I dated this one. So, yeah, where do I begin with this guy? We met on a blind date. It was fine. First ever relationship. This dude, he's alright. He had a couple problems, like we all do, but we were young. Things seem to be going pretty good between me and this guy. Sometimes he would get upset and he would like need several hour-long talks. Like, I remember it starting to get really frequent. Like every 2 or 3 days we'd have to get together and just talk about some issue that was deeply problematic to him for like 3 hours. It would take up my whole evening. I remember kind of being annoyed, but I'm like, well, relationships take work. Communication is good. And he would always say that too. He's like, we're so good at communicating. This is such a great relationship, whatever. It started getting really exhausting maintaining this relationship. But I was like, I think we were almost at 3 months, and I heard from a lot of girls that like usually the 3rd or the 4th month is where is hard, because it's where all of the honeymoon phase stuff wears out. I don't know. So I was like, we'll just see how this goes. And like, whatever. I had planned this camping trip for the friend group a while ago. And wait, why did I do that? I was really excited to go on it. So even though I wasn't like super feeling hanging out with my boyfriend, I decided to go on the camping trip anyways. And it actually was a lot of fun. My best friend and her girlfriend came. Her girlfriend like ended up being like really picky though, and apparently she doesn't even like camping, so like low-key don't know why she came, but it's all right. We get there and my boyfriend just starts getting upset with everything. We take his minivan and he decides he's only comfortable with me and him driving it. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take first shift. We had to get to the campsite we wanted early to get a spot, which means we actually ended up leaving at 1 a.m. because it was like, I think it was like a 4 or 5 hour drive away. And it was a beautiful spot. I loved going there. Would not wake up at 1 a.m. for it again. But yeah. Anyways, I am taking the first shift of driving. And mind you, he won't let my friend or her girlfriend drive the car. He sleeps the entire time and does not take the wheel. And so we get to the campsite and I am exhausted. Okay, I probably shouldn't have been going at that point. Wildlife ran across the road and we hit a hare, like a rabbit. And he was really mad at me for hitting it with his car. He's like, the oil pan or something is freaking gonna be broken. And at this point I was like, I don't know what you wanted me to do. I did not purposefully hit this rabbit. I actually felt really bad about it. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I'm tired. So they set up camp and I'm just trying to get some sleep because I have a horrible headache and I want to explore and hike around because it's a really beautiful place. And the camping trip is okay, but it's exhausting because he keeps asking me like a lot about a ton of extra things. That's really exhausting. Like, I'm trying to think of a specific example, but you just get caught up on details and I'd have to reassure him about things. And he got really upset because he was in Boy Scouts, whatever. He tried for 30 minutes to start a fire and I was like, why don't you try this? And he's like, no, I was in Boy Scouts, I know how to do it, blah blah blah. I was like, okay. He couldn't get a fire lit and I did it in like 2 minutes. So he was upset about that, and then he's talking the whole night about how like, oh, it was just chance, this and that's why I couldn't get it started, but you could. And it was at this point I started like, this was kind of, the camping trip made it really obvious that this is the type of person he was, because before that it was kind of a like I knew he would get upset about things sometimes, but it didn't seem so outrageous like it did in these moments. And I think it was day 2 or 3, because it was like a 5-day camping trip. It was a good camping trip. It was actually so nice, minus all of the weird boyfriend stuff. But me and just my best friend went into town to grab another bag of ice, and it was like 30 minutes away. And we start talking, and I realize I don't like catering to this guy's mood and reassuring him every time he gets upset about something. And this is when I realized, like, I think he's actually pretty insecure, because, like, he acts confident, but he was getting upset about all these things. I don't know. It was exhausting trying to keep him happy, especially while I was still trying to recover from not sleeping at all that first night, because he didn't want to take a shift driving. And I realized, like, I decided that I wasn't going to baby him anymore. And other people, the other 2 people on this trip, had noticed that he was like in a bad mood for whatever reason because of all these things he was doing. And as soon as we get back, I just start relaxing how I want to. I go on hikes even when he doesn't want to, and his mood noticeably plummets. Everybody on the trip realizes it, and it gets really weird. We go on a hike. It's a longer hike, and I wouldn't say like I'm super experienced. I actually would not say I'm very experienced at a lot of camping stuff, but I like to do it a lot. And I knew that my best friend and my boyfriend were not bringing enough water. And I told both of them that. And he's like, I don't need more water. Like, I know I have enough. It's fine. And my best friend was like, well, I don't have another bottle, and well, she does have more bottles, but she would have to carry more bottles because her main bottle doesn't carry enough. And she said that she thinks she will be fine. And I've known my best friend for years and years. And yeah, I didn't want her to be suffering when she ran out of water. So I brought extra water along for her. But not my boyfriend. And he was so upset by it. He was so upset by this. And like, I kind of get it. But at this point, I had driven his car for him. I actually ended up setting up our tent because he couldn't figure it out. I had cooked all his meals for him at this point because he didn't know how. Like, I was just getting tired of babying him. And I told him he didn't have enough water. And I kind of just don't want a man who's I have to like take care of, or he's not gonna be able to take care of himself. Like, I think if you're in a relationship, you should want to take care of each other. And I absolutely do, but having to take care of them or else they're, you know, not going to be able to take care of themselves, that's something that's like a little different, you know? And there was this one point on our camping trip, we had a fire, and one thing I also noticed on this trip is he was just on his phone all the time. We didn't even have service, but he was chronically on his phone, which I thought was really weird. And at one point my friend says, why don't you live in the moment or something while we're at this campfire? And he's like, and do what? Like, there's nothing even to do. Like, you know, I'm just trying to stay productive. And she goes, well, maybe you could like talk to your girlfriends. And he is actually insane, because I had tried to talk to him earlier too, but he kept like being really short with me, and I just kind of like gave up. He would sigh wistfully a lot, and so I made the joke, he's a 10, but he sighs wistfully every 2 minutes. And I guess it really hurt his feelings, because the rest of the trip he started making like kind of really aggressive jokes back towards me. Like, there was a point where I had cornbread and I wanted to put butter on it, but our butter was frozen from being in the cooler against ice, I guess. And so I just put slices of butter on my cornbread and set it on a piece of wood in the fire to make it warm up. And he would not stop mocking me. He's like, she's a 10, but she tries to warm up her cornbread and butter by putting it on the fire. Like, it was so weird. I don't know. Maybe he was trying to be funny, but he just kept getting more and more aggressive with it. And it got to the point where everyone was like, you need to calm down. It was a weird trip. There was one point where he tried to mop up water we emptied our cooler right outside of our campsite, but there was a rut, so the water ran straight into a little puddle underneath our canopy. And he would try to mop it up with so pretty. He would try to mop it up with all of our paper towels. Like, and it was on dirt. It was really weird. And I don't know, it was just a mess. We get back from the camping trip and he wants to go on a walk, which was actually pretty normal for us. So I was like, oh, sure. And he's like, well, come here, let's sit down. And so we get to the park and we sit down on the grass, and he's like, yeah, I know you were tired that trip, but I feel like being tired is something that happens enough in life where you can't, that like it's important how you react to it. And I feel like I just wasn't okay with how you responded to being tired, which at this point I was like low-key really confused, because I was like, I'm not sure what he's talking about. And he said that he doesn't think I actually love him because I didn't bring extra water for him on the hiking trail, which is crazy to me because like I cooked all of his meals. Like, I set up his campsite, I did all this crap for him, I drove him while he slept like a baby in the passenger seat, you know, and I drove us all the way home too because he didn't want to drive then either, but he wouldn't let anyone else drive his car. But I guess it wasn't enough because he thought I didn't love him. And I literally just stopped him and I'm like, are you breaking up with me? And he looked at me and he said, yes. And I got up and I walked away, and he's like, no, but don't you want to like hear more of why? And I said, no. And he kept texting me and asking me, I want to meet up and tell you why I'm breaking up with you. And I was like, I don't need to know. I was like, if you want to text it to me, you can, but otherwise I don't care. And And the list was like low-key really dumb. He said, there was one point where he said, thank you for sharing that with me. I don't even remember, but that was something my mom used to say to me a ton growing up. And I was like, what did I say? I joked and I was like, never say that again. And then I told him, you know, my mom used to say to me that a lot, and I'm just so tired of the phrase. That was a reason on his list of why he had to break up with me. Because I was limiting his language, so he couldn't properly communicate with me anymore. And then, you know, a lot of things about how, like, I just clearly didn't love him anymore. But yeah, you know what? That was the end of that relationship. He actually ended up asking for me back a day later and said that he didn't even mean to say yes. He just panicked. And I don't know. I never got back to him on that because I genuinely had no idea what to say. And that was the end of my first ever real relationship. I don't count that week-long thing with the FSY guy. Whew. I love how I'm just starting. I thought I was going to keep these like cute, funny stories, but I'm just going in depth. Okay. Yeah. Then we get into my adult life, living on my own. Hinge dates are most of what these last three things are. So I met this guy. He seemed to be very, very considerate, very sweet over the phone. We texted for the better part of a week, just getting to know each other. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to finally give this a try. A lot of my friends had met their current partners on Hinge and had gone on a lot of dates on Hinge, but I would get too scared. And I was like, okay, this is the guy. He looks really nice on his profile. He asks what I'm going to wear on the date because he wants to wear formal because he loves thrifting and found some new formal pieces, but he doesn't want me to be uncomfortable if I don't wear formal, whatever. We're going to go to an art museum. It was one of those things on my profile that, like, you know, you could pick out. And so right off the bat, things are a bit weird because he's been nothing but kind, understanding, and considerate leading up to this point, but I missed the train. And so I text him and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I missed the train. Wait, what did I do right here? I messed this up. But yeah, I tell him that I unfortunately missed the train, so I am going to be 20 minutes late, and, you know, I'm very, very sorry. I was really nervous for the date too, which is probably why I missed it in the first place. He says, that really sucks because I'm actually really cold out here. And I was like, oh, well, like, you could go inside the museum to wait if you want. Like, again, I'm really sorry. And he's like, it's all right. Just try your best to be on time next time and do your best to be as fast as you can. And I'm like a little weirded out because, like, I don't know. Like, I know I'm kind of in the wrong here because, again, I'm the one being late, and that's always kind of rude on your first date. But he'd been so considerate up to this point, so I was like, it was kind of a different signal than I was used to. And he says I need to tell him when I'm close so that he could come out to meet me. So I'm like, okay. I mean, it's kind of weird he doesn't just, you know, watch out the door, but okay, whatever. So I tell him, he comes out, and I realize I may have been catfished. Because I don't know if his pictures were from years prior, but he looks a lot different, and I hate judging people by their appearances, but he doesn't look like he's showered in days. And he said he was gonna dress up nice. He had on oh my goodness, what was it again? It was like a beige suit jacket that was buttoned all the way up with some Adidas sweatpants, a t-shirt, and yeah, some sneakers. Like, you get the idea. And I'm like, okay. And I walk up to him, and the first thing he says to me, actually, like, I'm always a bit nervous. I go to shake his hand because I don't know what to do, and be like, I try to say, like, hi, my name's Ashlyn, you know, blah blah blah. He walks, the first thing he says to me is, the tickets are free for students, right? Walks right past me. Yeah, goes straight in the museum and lets the door slam on me as I'm following him. It's at this point I should have just turned around and left, but I didn't, unfortunately. So he checks himself in the museum, which is free for students, and literally just starts walking around alone. I'm trailing after him. I don't know why, but I was just so confused because he was so nice over the text, like all the texting we'd been doing. And yeah, what can I say? I'm just very confused at this point. I don't know what's going on. At one point, he starts getting really close to me though, because I just stop. I'm like, you know what? I really wanted to come to this museum. That's why I put it on my dating thing, which I learned, just go do it by yourself. If you want to do something, just do it by yourself. There's no reason to delay any of that to like go on a date or something. I'm looking at pieces, so he does start coming around and standing right next to me, and he just starts getting really close, and kind of whenever I try to walk around him, like when we're at a dead end, he starts just really getting in my way, like a cat, you know, that when you try to walk in a line, they're constantly weaving out in front of you, and it just starts getting really annoying, because what is he doing? Is this his first day on Earth? And oh, I thought I messed up the whole thing here. No, just this block. And then he just starts getting really close to me, which I'm also uncomfortable with, because I'm also holding my bag and my big coat because it was really cold outside. And I'm actually really grateful at this point for that, because I could tell, like, I think he's trying to hold my hand, but I'm holding all this crap, which, you know, he didn't. Oh, I hate phantoms. Which he also didn't offer to hold at all, which, like, is fine. Guys don't have to do that, but it is kind of nice. But I just keep an iron grip on it. Whatever. We go through the museum. I notice he's starting to mimic me really hard. Every time I step in close for a piece, he also steps in close to look at the piece. And it's at the point where, like, maybe there's, should I do a little demonstration? Let me find, there's a painting somewhere. Yeah. There's art on the wall. I'm standing here looking at it. He's right here. I go up, I'm like, he is right here also looking at it. I bend down closer. He's also right there. I step back, he steps back too. Then I start thinking, like, at this point, I know I'm not going on another date with this guy. I start thinking, how many times can I get him to mimic me? So I start going in and out, like leaning in, going, out, looking at it from a distance over and over again, like what you would see like for an art critic in a show or something, and he is copying me over and over again. I genuinely got to 7 times going back and forth before I had to stop, because I was legitimately about to bust out laughing. Like, it was ridiculous. It was genuinely ridiculous. So yeah, we get to the point where we've seen everything in the museum, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna go. But he actually invited me to go to a bakery afterwards, which I love this bakery. I love bakeries in general, but especially this one was amazing. It was actually like, he wanted to go to a bakery, and I suggested the bakery because he didn't know that many around, and I was so excited to go. And I was like, if anything, I just want to get a good sweet out of this trip. I should have just taken myself on a day date myself at this point, because I honestly think that's what I wanted to begin with. I have decided that I'm gonna stick it out to go get this bakery, which was such a mistake. I should have told him I actually was not feeling well. I should have just gone home myself, whatever. But you know what? I was an idiot. We get on the train, and he's following me around still at this point. So I try and I sit in the part of the train that has 2 seats facing each other. So like, he gets it on one side, I get it on the other. He is a heavy set dude. Yeah, and he does not get the hint. And even though I'm shrinking away into my seat, he sits right by me and he's kind of overflowing into my seat, taking up all the space. I was so uncomfortable, and it was at this point I was just like, why did I actually decide to go through with the bakery portion? And at this point I'm just, oh my gosh, I accidentally hit sprint. That was weird. I just stick it out. We finally get to the bakery shop, which, mind you, he invited me to. He goes in, orders himself a cookie, and walks out. I'm legitimately standing in there. A big part of this too is I didn't know how to act because I was just so shocked by this guy's behavior. I didn't know you could just like be so like that, I guess. I mean, yeah, whatever. What can you do? I buy myself and my roommate some pastries, and I get out and I tell him, like, I'm gonna go home. And he goes, all right, but before you go, I know you said you don't do kisses on first dates, which is a crazy thing to say, because when we were just talking on Hinge, I think I mentioned, like, how I hate how some people expect kisses on first dates, and he agreed. He's like, yeah, that's weird, but the way he said it now just sounded interesting. He's like, I know you said you don't like to do that, but can I at least have a hug? And I wish I would have said no, but at this point I was also low-key scared of him, because I get scared of everybody because I'm worried they're gonna have ill intentions. And I was like, sure. I give him a side hug, get out of there, and actually I didn't ghost him. I told him I did not feel the chemistry, and I ghosted him. Yeah, that's that dating story. So fun. I hope you guys are getting entertainment out of these. I don't know if they're boring at this point, but every time I think back, they throw me for a loop, even though they might not be the craziest things out there. Red flag. This one was actually pretty simple. It was kind of weird because this actually wasn't a Hinge date, I guess. It was a blind date set up by my roommate with a guy she saw on a bus. I don't know. She just thought we might be good together. We meet up for a coffee date. It's actually cool. I find out he just arrived at our university. The more and more I find out about him, like, we talk okay. I'm not sure if I'm feeling any specific chemistry at this point. The more and more we talk, the more crazy things I find out about him. And we actually go on like 3 dates, I believe it was, all just coffee dates. And I slowly start to realize, like, this guy might be a lot older. I couldn't tell. He looked like he was 25 to me, but it's kind of hard to gauge age. And I guess was I 20 at this point, or was I 19? I think I turned 20. Yeah, like between some of these dates. I don't know. But I'm starting to think, like, okay, is this guy too old for me? Because I find out, okay, he's actually served 6 years in the military. And he also apparently, he just fully dropped this on me on our 3rd date. Like, that he already has another bachelor's degree. And it's at this point, I'm like, whoa, I don't know. And then he's talking about minimalism. Like, he just was, that last date, he was so fixated on minimalism. It was everything. And I am not a minimalist person. I love my things. You will never catch me being a minimalist. And so I was like, oh, yeah, not me. Like, I just need my things and I am good. I am happy. And he looks me dead in the face and he's like, oh, well, that's kind of a red flag. And I was like, is it? And he's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're just attached to worldly stuff. I put this in here because that's just such a crazy thing to say. That's such a crazy thing to say. Why would you, for not being a minimalist? Like, that's not that rare. I like my fancy things. You know, and mind you, I had paid for my own drinks during all of this as well, because, like, I don't expect guys to pay for me on first dates. I don't know. I don't like being indebted to somebody that I don't know anything about. But this is just, I don't know. It's just insane how some of these people talk, or some of the things these guys will say to people. And he actually, I was still gonna, I don't know, I was gonna ask him about it, but I still kind of was like, I don't know. The age thing was throwing me for a loop, but he was a really interesting person, so I still wanted to like chat with him, and then I wanted to try confronting that I thought that was weird and see how he would take it, and then ask him his age for real, because he never told me his age. And he just ended up ghosting me, so that was that. So super short story, but that was that one. Last one, video call. This is the most recent one, which just made me realize that I don't want to do Hinge anymore. And yeah, and honestly, outside of these stories, there's maybe there's 3 or 4 other dates I've gone on. Honestly, not even that many. I'd say like 2 dates that I could think of right now that I've gone on other than these. And they were just non-notable, and I never went on a second date. But this is the majority of my love life, I suppose. Yeah, I've decided to stop dating until I am older and more successful in my career. I'm just going to start putting effort into the things I want to do and into building my life, because I just can't trying to find a partner in these conditions. You know, I at least need a stable, happy life on my own, I feel like, before I'm going to start wasting my time and energy on these buffoons. So anyways, I was just on Hinge chatting with some people, and I was like, I'm going to start going on dates. Because I also like to go on dates because I like meeting people. I think they're interesting. I like seeing everyone's side of things. And again, I do really want to find a partner one day. And you can't really do that if you don't date. And so I finally found a guy. A lot of people on Hinge I decided I had not been having great experiences with the guys I'd asked out. So I was like, I'm just going to keep being friendly and being myself, but I'm not going to ask anybody out. But if they ask me out, then I'll probably just go with them. Almost no guy on Hinge will ask you out, basically. So yeah, dates got really slow. But I decided, there was one guy who asked to go on a date, and I was like, sure, let's do it. And I live in a kind of sparse area, and he lived an hour and a half. He lives an hour and a half away. And so he recommends a place, and I look it up on Google, and it's right by his house. And I was like, oh, that's pretty far. And he's like, yeah, I mean, we could go more halfway. And so he suggests a place, but it's an hour away from my place. So like, he would drive 30 minutes, but I would drive an hour. I thought that was weird from the get-go. I'm like, look, I'm in this city, like, the halfway point is this place. And he's like, oh, well, like, there's just nothing there I really want to do. And he's like, why don't we do a video call so I can kind of meet you and then decide if it's worth the investment for me to drive over to you. Are you kidding me? He expected me to drive an hour, but if he has to drive like 45 minutes, he wants to like interview me on Zoom to see if I'm worth the investment of his time? Guys, I can't with these men. I think I'm gonna like stick to my fictional men, like Leon Kennedy or something, because what the fuck? What in the world is wrong with these people? I do live in a notorious state for bad dating and weirdos, so it's because of the predominant religion here. But Jesus Christ, it's way worse than I ever could have thought it would be. And I can't freaking meet normal people. But yeah, I'm stuck here till I'm out of school and have enough money to where I can move out, because all of my family members live here. So the only way for me to leave this state is to really be completely financially independent, which I'm sure you know how hard that is in today's society if you're a young adult right now. So Oh, let's see. How does this look? Whoa, that... Now I'm starting to realize why I did flat spikes on that one on the big cathedral, because it looks a little funky. I don't know. Oh, you know what I forgot to do though? This won't happen in this video, but I need to put trimming right there. Actually, it's growing on me. It's growing on me. Yeah, I like that. Oh, it's so nice to see everything come together. I think something about these end ones throwing me off. I need to figure out, maybe I'll tweak it later, but I'd say that's another roof successfully made. Maybe it's not one of the nicer ones I've done, but I still feel like it looks good. Maybe I need some lights along the trimming on the edges. I don't know. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. I know today was like a super long one. Hopefully you found these stories entertaining. Remember to subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next one. I really hope your dating life is going better than mine. All right. Bye.